tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today is Wednesday, so you know we're here with our money mindset coach, Coach Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada. We want to give a shout out to our co-producer, Miss Francine Gregory. She's on the road today. Hey, Fran.
Hi,
We
Fran.
wish you all the best. She is a real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. So today we want you to sit back, relax, and get some information to get your money on your mind and your mind on your money so
Woo!
you can keep your wealth. Okay? Oh, so we're going to turn you over into the more than capable hands of Coach Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada. Hey, friend. How you doing this morning, friend?
Good
All is well.
morning.
Good morning.
Good
We have
morning. Good
someone
morning.
watching us. I'm not sure where they're watching from, but they're going to tell us in a minute. Yep. So what's on today, Karen? What are
So
we
good
talking
morning,
about?
everybody. For us, whoever is going to join us live and on the replay. And today we are talking about overcoming laziness.
Mm,
I thought about the subject. I'm like, why not? I want to talk about it a little bit. And here's why. All month we are talking about money, 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 money. And we first start talking about the outcome that we want our clients to receive. We want to tell them up front.
hmm
And we want them to know this because when they know, they will be able to tell other people if they're going to refer us what to expect. And that's why we were dealing with that. And then on the
Okay.
13th, we talked strictly about money and the behaviors and what sort of whatnot. Today, we're talking about overcoming laziness. And people get lazy and don't want to do what they got to do, so then their money dry up. That's a fact of life. You get into certain habits. And so we're still dealing with money, but we're talking today about overcoming laziness. And it's important. And if you're hearing me and you're like, well, Karen, I'm not lazy, I get to do X, Y, and Z. Well, I'm telling you that most of us fall into a slump at some point or another. Think about this quickly. You're sitting in your living room and you're sitting on on the couch with some chairs, and you had something in your hand and it slipped down at the side and you didn't notice. And then you eat again and it slipped down at the side and you decide to do spring cleaning. You pick up all the couches and the cushions and everything is sitting at the side there. You were too lazy to investigate that everything that you sat down with, you didn't pick up and you left. Some went to the side of the chair. You're lazy. Yeah. It's a good example. But we get into that, and I'll tell you why and how it started. Most people are actually just naturally lazy, and they get offended when I say so. And here's why: because they feel that they're doing all that they can right,
Yes,
and so that's
exactly.
why they're offended. But the truth is, if they took time out and just spend some time evaluating and recognizing how great they are, how gorgeous they are, all the gifting that they were gifted with, their talents and their skills, and they took a step back, they'll be able to be less lazy and pay attention to what they have. But they're basically rushing around so they can't see what they're not doing. Most of us work on autopilot and not doing what we're supposed to do. So we get lazy in our behaviors. We get lazy in the way we do and produce.
So are you saying we get seduced by habit?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Habits are good and bad. And here's the thing about habits. They're good. But if you form in habits that's good, and you're not paying close attention to it, you also get slide over without you recognizing into the bad. When I was younger, I asked my mom years ago. We had a neighbor, and he had, I think you guys know those big big barrels, and he would just put money in that barrel, like he just dropped two coins, pennies, anything, 5 cents, 25 cents in this barrel, right? And whenever the barrel full, I don't know who used to pick it up. Somebody from the treasury used to come pick it up, and he would just have another barrel and keep putting money. He was a machinist. He used to make these little screws and bolts and all kind of different things. He lives upstairs, and right downstairs was his workshop. And he would just put all the stuff in there. And I remember asking my mom that I'm asking him, why do you keep doing it if you have all your house, you got your own business already? Why will you keep doing it? He says, Karen, if I ever stop putting the change in there and I become lazy at it, I wouldn't have what I have today. What people don't know, the reason I have this house is because I used to save pennies. I used to save 5 cents. You see that good habit? He kept it up even
Mhm.
though he didn't need to anymore. But what happened when we get lazy in our ways? For example, if we start a business and it starts making us a certain amount of money that we were expecting to make, we get lazy in our behaviors after a while. Now, we can say, well,
Mm.
we get tired, but we get lazy in the performance of the things we do because if you started seeing you getting tired, before you get tired, you would train people to come in and fill that hole that's taken away your energy, right? That's what you're supposed to do. But if you didn't and you keep saying, I could do it alone, then you get lazy over time. But it doesn't show up as you're lazy, it shows up as you're tired. It shows up as I've done enough, I don't have to do
Ah.
anymore. But it's part of that, it's that part of you that, and you don't even know this is happening because I know when it happened to me at one point, I was like, this is not real. But I see it in myself. I watch me knowing I could accomplish this thing and I wouldn't do it because I got to my goal, that specific goal at the time. I'm making enough money. I could do what I can, what I want to do. And I also watch that laziness cost me money. And that's why I can speak on it. It cost me money because I got lazy,
Mhm.
I got slack, I release, I let go, I just let everything just slide away. And then I watch my money follow that same pattern. And I only catch myself. This is I was in my 20s. So yes, I got time to recoup. But I caught myself thinking to myself, Karen, it's not because you were tired that you wasted the days. It's not because you couldn't do it. You got so comfortable, so lazy in your doing that you stopped actually doing.
Uh,
And you know, this stuff that's happening all around the world right now, and people are getting this time to look after themselves. I
uh-huh.
want you to know, and I want you to really take it seriously at this time to sit back and re-evaluate who you are, who you want to be if you're not where you think you should be, and then set in place all the things that would carry you through over and over. Terry, I can't tell you how many times I admire a 71-year-old, an 80-year-old that is doing, is not succumbing to laziness, regardless of pain or whatever they're going through, and sticking to what they set out within themselves to get done.
Okay. Wow. And you know what? There are so many people who are reinventing themselves. You know what I mean? It's just so I think that's really, really important to be able to stay the course. I'm sharing this out to my page.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things for me, you know this, I like to recognize what's happening, what's going on, and I like to really
Mhm.
address it, even if it's not popular, because it just shakes people up enough to help them do whatever it is they need to do, because everybody's not the same. Everybody's not in the same place, but I want to keep giving them an opportunity to get to see and really have a look in the mirror and see what am I doing? Am I taking on too much that allowing me to be lazy in this certain area? That's allowing me to not be as productive in this other area, right? Like we have to be conscious of those things because good habits take longer to form than bad habits. That's just
Uh-huh.
a fact. Our brain
So,
love being comfortable. We love it's there to protect us. So sometimes it's the overprotection that steps in, and we feel paralyzed and we can't do what we're supposed to do. And yes, this do affect your money.
So could we call this segment "Overcoming Bad Habits"?
Overcoming laziness. And wrapping it up.
People don't like to be called lazy.
I know. You could change the word if you feel like.
I'm all about the happiness plan. Over-
You can change the
Okay.
word if you like. I told a friend that a long time ago. And she said, Karen, how you could say I'm lazy? You know all the things I do? I said, yes. And I know all the things you are doing. But you're lazy
Mhm.
in this area. It wasn't the other area. It wasn't the money making area, but this other area. But what had happened is it would affect this area. And I keep telling her. I keep telling her. And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, watch it. And it didn't take long for her to start seeing, because she started seeing the cracks, and then the crack had a big gush of water that came out, and now she was like flipping all over the place. And I'm like, because this part is hard, you're lazy in this part because it's the hard part. This part of your life
Mhm.
right here is a hard part. It's like when Will Smith um in that movie something about happiness, pursuit of happiness. And when he would stop at certain part and say, and this is the part where, and so she was at, this is the part where I'm being lazy at. I'm being lazy, and I'm not calling you because I'm a mom myself, but this is the part you being lazy at when you're not spending the time with the kids. This is the part you being lazy at when you think it's too much work. This is the part that needs you, and you've given everything over here, but this part that is going to carry you through life, you're letting go of. You're being lazy in it.
Mhm.
And she's like, what are you talking about? And we had a discussion because we good friends. Like we were friends for 20 something years. So this is somebody who I'm going to talk to on the phone. I'm going to meet in person, and we're going to hash it out. And she's going to be mad at me. She's going to hate me for, probably 24 hours, but we're going to talk again. So we had to get down to it, because I know nobody else is going to tell her this. I know people is not going to want to touch that subject with her because they're going to feel like I'm blaming. But no, I'm not blaming. I'm there saying to her, here, we're such good friends that I can't see you be lazy in this area and not speak on it, because it's going to hurt you, and it hurt you. It can cause stress eventually, which going to damage your health, which means um, that work ethics that you have is no longer being in place anymore, because now you're gonna be suffering. And these are
Mm.
serious things that people need to think about. Most things, not everything, but most things that causes us. I said 95 to 99% of things that happen to us is because we stressed out about something or another. We are
Mm.
stressed out about something or another, and we're not being lazy in looking after that part that we need to look after. That we have to, that is important to do, because when you're stressless, when you're more relaxed, there's just certain decisions you don't make anymore, because you
No,
you you just can't, you just don't do it.
well, we postpone it because there's no sense of urgency. Hi, Brenna. How you doing?
Hey, Brenna.
So we think that that part can wait because we're making money.
Yeah.
And when we're making money, we think that we're going to always make money, and so we don't pay attention to that part. And then what happens is we realize, oh, I should have marketed. Oh, I should have, you know, posted to let people know what I have. And we're like, oh, but I don't like that part, or I don't like doing the books, or I don't like. And as a result of that, then that's when the little seepage occurs. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. That's when it happens, because the brain starts shutting down. This is the other part. The
Uh-huh.
brain starts shutting down. And once it starts shutting down, you make poor choices. You really
Oh.
make a lot of poor choices that you wouldn't. I mean, when you look upon yourself, you start beating up on you, you feel guilty, and that causes more poor choices. So it's like a stack, and it's keep happening over and over. And you do fall into a lazy pattern once you start stacking, because it's too much pressure on you. The load you're
Hmm.
carrying, it's too much pressure on you. That's what happens. We don't recognize it though until we have so many. We become the humpback man, and then now we're trying to throw all of that off, and it's hard. It becomes really
Mm.
hard. Making money is hard in the beginning, but if you think making money is hard in the beginning, wait till you got a lot of money, and then you're going to see how harder it is to actually keep the money
Hmm.
at it. Because then people say you're greedy and what have you, but that's not why people keep making money when you have money. That's not why, because they understand, one, there's a life, there's things that they still got to do. And so they're getting those things done. And so for the smart one, even if he's feeling that way, he still get up and do something else. He hire people gonna help that help him get to higher heights, because maybe this part of his life he doesn't know how to step over and get to this other part. So he needs
Ah,
somebody to help him get over to the other part, and that's the help he's looking for. And even if he didn't recognize it through conversations, that would help him. But could you imagine, Terry, if you're stacking, 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 and you're not stopping to pay attention, you don't even recognize that you need it. So you're just
yes,
going and your stress keep building. And then you get to the doctor and they're like, this is what's wrong with you. You're like, well, how could this be? I've been doing, and then you pause because you realize you know, I wasn't doing that. I thought I was doing it, but I'm
mhm,
not doing it. I've been lazy in this specific area. Stop,
mm,
take stock, and fix it. Because everything is fixable, right? Everything is fixable.
right. Wow. Well, I'm looking at Brenna. Brenna, it should be making some really good money right now because she's into cleaning products and
Yes,
everybody's sanitizing right
yes,
now.
yes.
Um, so you know, I say to you, Brenna, if you need help with something, reach out because you don't want that little crevice to open up, and the next thing because it was something that you didn't have knowledge of, you ended up with a big gap, and now your business is just
Mm.
so. Yeah, I see
You
what you're
definitely.
saying. If there are things that we don't like to do when the money is rolling in, find somebody to help you do it.
Yep. Yeah, you do that. And number two is you can do more than you're doing if you set things up right in the first place. If you
Ah,
ever is in this confusion right now, overwhelmed, I want you to stop everything you're doing. I want you to push everything aside, and no matter how you feel that you need to, because your heart is going to race and you're going to feel hurried up to do it. I want you to pause and I want you to reset and reinvestigate what, because some things we are going to do, but maybe the part of it we don't need to do. So go set it up right. In bookkeeping, even before you make a dollar, you need to set up your books right. Because if you're going to start a business, and so many people said to me, "Can I start a business without money?" I'm like, you're just lying to yourself, not
hi,
me.
Gabby.
You start
Hmm.
the business with money. I don't care. It's $5. You start the business if you have a machine. The cost of the machine, you start the business with that. If you had old fabric, you had bought it before. If you're like me, you got the bill. You you'd started before. You bought this fabric at some point. So you start with the fabric. If you're using thread, you start with thread. If you're using glue, you start with glue. So you coming into the business with some kind of assets. And that the reason we
Uh-huh.
say set the book up in bookkeeping first is because we want you to acknowledge what the business started out with, because you can't manage what you don't know about. You can't manage what you don't understand, because we're talking business here, right?
Hmm.
And this is even for personal. I used to work at a home. I used to volunteer, sorry, for about 2 years at a home for the handicapped and and very severe disabled kids who mostly in a wheelchair and what have you. And that journey was so great, because you see young people live in a home where they're there 5 days a week and their parents get them on the weekend, and when they go home we get the weekenders who come in to give the parents a break.
Hmm.
And the kids and the adults, because some of them were adults, and the people who work there, their work is strenuous and just consistently hard. There's no
Yes.
willpower, just hard work, But then you watch those employees, and you watch how those people look after the kids and then themselves. One of the big things when I first started my first 90 days training is the guy says, listen, if you're gonna come here, you gotta look after you. If you don't look after you, you're gonna get burned out. You can't work, you can't volunteer here. If you want to work with us eventually, you got to look after you. I had to set up a schedule showcasing how I'm going to look after myself before they allowed me
Wow.
to volunteer there. And I was just volunteering. I had to tell them how I'm going to look after me, what I'm going to do for self care, so my mind could be right. So I'm not frustrated when I get there and somebody, have um, most kids had a lot of epilepsy and that sort of stuff, or a high fever run. So I'm not panicking. I calmly able to call 911 and be with the child until the ambulance come, and also look after the rest of the house. And I was volunteering. One of the big things, if we didn't have that report in, they would let us in, even though we passed all the security and police clearance or what have you. And I appreciate it after, because I did say, Why do we need all of this? But it made so much sense because if I wasn't taking care of myself, how am I going to come there and take care of the kids? How am I going to help cook the meals, bathe the kids, see the places in order? Because those are the things we were doing. And if it's a hospital run, we have to. We also taught craft and whatnot. But the main thing was the care of the kids. So this is part of looking after yourself.
Okay.
Number three, once it's set up right, you can achieve anything you put your mind to. And it's in a shorter frame of time when you set it up right. Hence, then you have understanding that you don't need more time.
Yes.
We and our brain get so lazy because we keep thinking if we had enough time, if we can fit this in right, what time we're gonna get to get this done. And it's not true. It's really not true. I say this over and over again. You've got enough time to get everything done that you're supposed to get done today.
Ah,
That's
I
it.
love it. Can you say number three again? After you set it up right.
I said once you set it up right, you can achieve anything you put your mind to.
Okay.
Mhm. And here we go with the mind again, because it really, I was listening to an interview and he's so right. It starts in the heart and then you pull it up to your mind, and then the mind allow your body, which is the physical part of things, to happen. Because everything
Hmm.
that's in your heart that's beating so fast and so excited about what you're going to create, then the mind takes over and then you start doubting yourself that it's going to happen. And even if it happened, you're doubting that it's going to keep happening. And then your
Uh-huh.
physical action, if you don't do, will then put you in the poorhouse. Yes, I'm going
Look
there.
at there. This
I
Nicole says,
know.
ouch, time management. Yes, Nicole.
And then it just puts you there because you get so overwhelmed with all you're going to do. Most of my programs, I love stretching it out for the year. And I've had this
Uh-huh.
bother with people about why so long, 6 weeks, 30 days. Well, let me tell you, most people that's going in for 30 days don't do jack squat. Matter of fact, if you start your business, you need a whole year. Yes, I'm going to say a whole year. That doesn't mean you got to wait for the year to make money, but you need a whole year because the first 90 days, you can't even believe that you create this wonderful system or a service or product. And this, you're just in amazement at yourself, whether you admit it or not. You're just like shocked. I think about this. I got it done. Wow, you're just in shock. Now you have to develop systems for the next 90 days to make sure that that shock transfer and translate into making you continuous money. Six
Ah.
months done, right? So there you are,
Hmm.
6 months done.
Yes.
And
Brenda,
so you got the other 90 days. The other 90 days, you're learning other things, not so much about your business, but you think it's about your business. You're
mhm.
learning about yourself. You're learning about how you behave. You're learning about all your habits, good and bad, what you like, what you don't like, what you don't want people to know that you don't like. All those things are happening into your body. And then the other 90 days, if you had set it up right and you've been working through all these processes, you're at your final 90 days where you are seeing the things that you're going to keep, the things you're going to let go, the flexibility in that system that will allow you to do so. And so for the new year now, you're ready. You are ready. That's the time. Because in that year, we think about all the people we're hiring, what we're going to do, add on to our team. Then you are ready to bring in one or two team members. No more. One or two. And you're not going to bring them on together. You bring on one, you work with that person. Because until you work with somebody, you don't know how you are as an employer. Even if it's subcontracting, you're still an employer at that moment. And you don't know how you are until you hire them because they're going to bug you. They're going to irritate you. They're not going to do things
Mhm.
how you'd want them to do it because they're not you. And the best person has to learn how they're going to work with you. So here we are again, another 90 days, figuring out and learning the people that you just hire. how they take
Hmm.
in information, how they listen, how they observe, how they spill it back out to you with whatever you ask them to do, and your frustration level and how you feel inside. Yes, feelings doesn't sell. We hear it all the time, but trust me, this is what makes you. This is what makes you unique. That's what makes you who you are and how you deal with stuff. It's not good or bad. It's just knowing you. And all
Okay, so coach. Okay, so we got these bad habits. Things are eventually going to fall through the cracks. How do we correct these bad habits? Is that, are you saying take the 90 days and revamp everything and test it out?
you have to. Like as I said in number two, so I'll clear that back up. If you right now, going to reiterate that statement, right? If you right now right where you are. You're either confused, you're feeling you're not doing enough, you're feeling lazy, you're feeling things are not going where you need it to go. You need to take minimum of 2 days not doing anything. Let me give the steps. 2 days, 48 hours, doing nothing in your business, just letting it sit. Let me also say this because people don't say this. I'm going to say it. Let's say in the 48 hours you got an order and you get let's say you make a mask and you get an order for mask. You're going to have to say, I can't make the mask for the next 48 hours because I'm finding myself. You got to allow it. It's going to feel long and drawn out and you're going to feel you can't do it, but you have to do it. You have to do it because it's going to be better in the long run for your business. Now, I want
Hmm.
to take time. The reason I was going into the 90 days is because I was talking about how long the business takes to do and be. That's where I was going with that. To answer your question, Terry.
Okay. So we're going to take 48 hours to let the business sit, let it marinate, so that you can reassess. Or
Mhm.
what's the purpose of the 48 hours?
You're reassessing. You're wanting to know where you are, where you stand as a business owner. A lot of people, this
Okay.
is new to them and it's confusing. Like I make masks or I make earrings, but then what? I sell them and I make money, but then what? And so you start dropping off. You start dropping off without understanding why you're dropping off. This is why they ask you
Okay.
to write a business plan when you're in business school. We always think about it only for the money, but the core part of a business plan is really to force you. It forces you to understand who you are. It really forces you. We have my assignment, I think it was 2 weeks we got to write our business plan. They gave
Uh
us
huh.
2 full
We have
weeks.
a comment over here when you get finished with that statement.
Well, along with my parenting, I'd rather do it myself than instruct and battle with training. That makes sense.
And I think we all feel that way. Having been a trainer, let me say this to you, Brenna. It's worth the time invested in training someone if you train them correctly, because they will eventually become a a journeyman at what you've asked them to do, and you won't have and they'll be self-directed. But initially it is cumbersome and it does take time out of the day. But what you have to look at it as is as an investment in saving time in the future. It really is worth the time.
And
It's
is this
like teaching kids to make their bed
exactly?
when they're when they're 17. You are so grateful when you go by that room and the bed's made and things are picked up, but it took some time.
Yeah.
It doesn't take that much time to train an employee, but it is a time investment.
That's the same thing goes where I talk about our business. If we
Hmm.
are lazy in setting up our business right, we're going to suffer. If you set up people, and if you don't know to do books, right? Like I do, but the things I talked about before, like you set up just simply take a walk around and really take out everything that you want to use to start a business. This is how simple it is. And you put everything in front of you And even if you don't know the price, you decide and you put a number on each item and then add it up. And that's the number that you're going to use to start your business. That's the number. Okay.
Mhm.
And then add to that number. If you're going to get a loan, add to that number. Uncle John is going to lend me $500 and add Uncle John there. Okay. That's it. If you are going to loan you the money, this is the other part, people. If you're going to loan you the money, say it there on the loan. Coach Caren loan is $500.
In other words, we're going to be paying ourselves back.
Thank you.
Okay.
Put it there. And then I want you to go away and I want you to map out when you're going to either start paying Uncle John or Coach Karen. And I want you to map that out. That has to be in your budget, where you know every 20th of each month, I'm going to pay Coach Karen or Uncle John $50 back for this time period. If Uncle John says I'm lending you $500 with because I know you, my niece, with a 3% interest, then you want to calculate what that 3% is on the $500. Now, some loans,
Mm-hmm.
when it's friends and family, they might give you just the $500 with a 3% loan for whatever time period. But if it's an Uncle John who wants to get 3% all along the way until the loan is paid off, you have to calculate it that way. And by the way, you can also do that if it was yourself. You can decide to give yourself interest. And I had this pushback a lot with, why would I pay myself interest? Is my own thing and whatever. But if you had taken it on a credit card, it would probably be 9, 12, 19, 25%. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
taking the time to save the money, nothing wrong with charging yourself. But here's what the interest do. Here's the sweet spot. Because you're charging yourself interest, it's going to push you and it's going to make you pay
Wow.
back faster than if you just relax and there was nothing to it. I always
Mm-hmm.
push myself that showing me that I'd have to pay extra because if somebody had loaned it to me, I would have to pay them. If it was my credit card, I would have to pay them interest on it. So why wouldn't I want to give it to myself? Or the other way you could look at it, if I had this money into some kind of investment, this is the interest I would have gotten. So now that I
Uh-huh.
took it out and using it for myself, why not give me the same interest? What it does is help the brain to push forward. It goes along with the same thought process of, you know, if I pay myself first, I will have to spend time figuring out how I'm going to pay the other bills. Most people do not pay themselves first is because now they have to think about how they're going to pay the other bills. Imagine you pay yourself $200 and it's going to make it 200 short for your rent. And you're like, there's no way to do that, Karen. Oh, yes, you can. You're going to find the other $200 because you're going to push to find the other $200. But it come back to you understanding yourself, not
Okay.
being lazy emotion, and how you're going to bring in money. You got to know those things. You have to know those things. One of my free courses in my group that's going to be, dripped out shortly is about allowing people to feel it, find it, and do it. It's a simple little course, but it's going to allow people to go in there and really deal with these things that when you tell them about it, when they pay for a course, they're like, why would I want to waste time doing that? And all the breakdown that happens is because people haven't feel it, they haven't find it, whatever that thing is, and they haven't spent time doing it yet. And it's called investigating yourself. Investigate
Mm-hmm.
yourself. I took a business course and I told one of the presenters that was presenting, I said, one of the things that have people dropping out of this course is because they don't know if they're going A or B because they haven't found out. And you haven't given them time to find out themselves. You're throwing all this information at them. And me being a business person before, it was cool. I was enjoying it. But I watched my peers couldn't cope, or they came because of a program, they came because they had a job and they lost their job. But because entrepreneurship and business, they weren't ready for, I think, at the time, they dropped off. We started
Yes.
with 32 students and we ended with 21.
Mm-hmm. So she
Who were
lost a
dropping off.
third.
Yeah, and even the 21 that was there was so confused. I spent a lot of time explaining what the teacher, what the professor had.
Translating. Translate. And see, and that's one thing we do not like at Biz Chicks. We do not like convoluted crap. Just tell me to to make a list, moving from list A to list B. And just don't complicate it for me.
That's what the girl was saying. She was baking cupcakes and she said, Karen, so why didn't they just tell me what to do with my cakes? She was like, you just told me what to do with my cupcakes and I sold on the weekend. Why didn't she do it?
You know what I'm saying? Now you got these cupcakes sitting here, and they're just sitting there, and nobody told you what the next step is.
Yeah,
Come on, people, just tell us in English so we
yeah,
can make it happen. So
yeah,
now we're going to review here real quick because you had three things,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so the first was
The first one, well, the first one really me just telling you that people don't like when I talk about laziness. And I told you
okay,
why I say so.
yes,
I say so because we got lazy in our habits. We got lazy in our habits. That's the first thing.
we get lax in what we
We got
do.
lax. We got lax in what we do. And number two,
Hmm.
you can do more than you're doing right now once you set it up right. And that's what we're talking about, setting things up
Because
right.
we feel like we can't do anymore.
Hmm.
Frankly, it's
Yeah,
just like, really,
yeah.
Karen, I'm pedaling as hard as I can. What do you mean I can do more?
You can do more. You can do more because I'm going to give you a tiny example here. If you're on Facebook, don't go and do everything. Stay and understand Facebook. Don't go into 20 groups. And if you got 20 groups right now, get out of them. Three groups or six. I like to say six maximum. But when you got those six groups, I want you to sit down and ask yourself, why am I in those six groups? I'm going to contribute to two. One, two is for my education. The other one is where I'm going to, like know why you're in those groups, and it's going to shorten your time because you'll know. I bet I could tell you right now. I can tell you 30 minutes on Facebook. You can contribute to all six groups if one of them is yours and still get back to work. 30 minutes.
Hmm.
And here's how simple that is. You get all your you click on your plus sign and you get all of them up. And whatever you're going to post in them, you get it ready beforehand. So Sunday is your preparation day, whether it is, clip art, whatever you need to get together in your content. And it don't have to be long. You got to go in and learn the book, the group, get to the group, learn the rules of the group, go through
Yes.
the post, understand what they do, and see how your contribution is going to help somebody. It's not for you, how your contribution is going to help somebody. That's it. So two groups on Mondays, two groups on Wednesdays, two groups on Fridays. Nothing else. Stop the madness. Nothing else. And then the other 2 days, it's where you contribute yourself, where you start up something. You know what I mean? 30 minutes. 30 minutes. That's it. Don't get sucked into scrolling.
Okay. Here it is. Here it is. Britta says, I shipped stuff yesterday and got stuck. It happens every time. I'm not an efficient packaging and shipping connoisseur. Okay. So,
But you can learn that, Brenna. You can learn that, girl. You can learn how to do that.
or if you're only shipping one day a month, hire somebody to do it. Bring them in once a month, and let them figure it out. Somebody who is a connoisseur. Um, Somebody who does understand, what is it? Stamps. I never could figure it out, but it does save you money in shipping. So if you know somebody who's good at that, or put a call out in some of these groups. Is anybody good at stamps? I never thought about that. At stamps.com, I need your help. And that's how you find somebody.
And they're
And
pouring on you. They will pour in on you. They will get you going. They'll get you going. You get the help wherever you need the help. You know,
exactly,
do whatever you need to do. So
exactly.
then
And
I
just
said,
s-
Brenna,
go ahead. I was
yeah,
going to say, just set aside a portion in your budget to, they need to come in and take the weight off yourself, Brenna. Go ahead. What were we going to say, Coach?
and because you set it up right, one of the things about setting things up right also is that you have to understand the costs so that when you hire people, I always charge for my product and give myself the room so that, and I learned the hard way. Let me tell you, it's because I learned.
Hmm.
So that when I'm ready to pay somebody, I'm not worried or penny pinching because I have it built into my product costs and how I price it out right. And so you can't be afraid to price. And once it's
Yeah,
set up right, you can achieve, you feel like somebody's in the background cheering for you because you leave your office. You leave your office and you go upstairs if you're downstairs, or if you're in a room, you lock the door, you're out, you sign out for the day. Don't fall into the trap of not leaving your office. No, I'm going to put this disclaimer out. When you're just starting out, you're going to
Hmm.
spend more hours. But the minute you understand and you set your system, and the system must allow you to rest, work diligently, and learn. Three things must be in your system. You must keep learning. You must work a certain amount of hours and you must rest. If not, you wouldn't have enough to keep going around. And that really boils down to managing your time well. If you can't manage your time, you can't manage your money. Money gonna always come and go out the door. You're gonna always think you have to buy the next time, the next thing. You're always gonna think you need the next thing. Yes, you're gonna need it, but was it on your budget list? Was it on your shopping list? Was it part of the list for your business? And if it's there and you put the time next to it, you'll be able to do this.
Okay. Now, Brenda says, I want to make it include everything just right. Okay. Sometimes we don't get it right the first time, Brenda. It's okay to do it again, to
And take out
reset.
a picture. Take out a picture of whatever you have done. When I go back to my pajamas because you're doing things where you're hand doing them. I did that the first one, I did the second, and I watch. It's amazing, Breno. When you take out pictures and you watch them side by side, it's like somebody who's on a weight loss journey, where they start and where they are now. You're gonna surprise yourself and you're gonna be happy with yourself. I'm a believer in videos and taking pictures of my work and my processes. Because if I decide to lie to myself and say, well, you didn't do anything, I'm like, Karen, you too lie, because here's the proof. My iPad come out and I have a
Uh,
look. Here's the proof.
that's good because you know what? When the work is behind us, we do feel like we haven't done anything, and if we're sitting there relaxing, our mind is going, girl, you should be da da da. You should. You gotta rest. I see your
Yes.
point now.
Yeah.
Rest your mind
Yes.
because you've
Yes.
set aside a time to work.
Yes.
You say, okay, that's for work time tomorrow.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Watch a silly
Good.
movie. Get something to laugh about. Just enjoy
Mm,
yourself. And on your wall, I encourage you to do this all the time. I have a spot for the learning curve. I have my celebration spot. And yes, there's stick people there. Yeah, there's some bright colors, stickers, because that signifies that I have achieved this. And so I've got
mhm.
this place to go back and look at. And it's on my wall because I'm visual and I need to see it. And you can see my dancing girl behind here regularly. We dance a lot. And she's up there, but that's what I love to do. So it's just part of money is pretty boring if you don't have a lot of joy inside of you to talk about money.
Some people say they love numbers. Numbers is not my forte. Seriously.
Even
I'm
us
sorry,
with love
guys.
numbers, it is hard for people who ears can't handle hearing about it. So we have to make it joyful. We have to have it a little softer so that they can want to. Because if you're in business, even if you don't like numbers, you still have to be aware of them. Because if you're not,
Mm.
you're going to lose out. So I try to bring it to you in the best way I know how and make it a little a softer landing when I talk about money because I want people to be successful in their business, but I want them to get out of certain habits. I want to jolt them and say, hey, you got to get this set up right. You got to do this right. I'm hoping, I think we got another week here to be able to bring a slide in and just show some number stuff so that people can just like follow along and see certain things because you need if I can't do this month it's going to happen next month. I want you to know that you can make money in your business, but you have to take the time to do the three things I just talked about. Not being
Mm.
lazy in your learning, if you will. You can do more than you think you're doing. Just not, when I say more, and this is a part I should clarify, when I say more, it doesn't mean you need to do more of anything. It
More activity.
that's not what it means. It means you need to, instead of going wide, you need to go deep. Don't worry about the wide, go deep. I always tell people when they come to me and said, well, I want to do this. I'm like, what is your main product? If it was a product. And if you got three products, that's it. I don't want you to got 6 and 10. When you nail the three products, then we can add more product. Same thing with services. I'm a coach and then I got my school that I teach in. That's good because everything else I want to just leave aside. People bring ideas to me all the time, Karen, you could do this and do that. I'm like, yeah, I could,
Don't
but
they?
I'm not gonna.
People will tell you that about your business, folks. You ought to be doing this and you ought to be doing that. Focus. Stay focused. Don't let them take you down these rabbit trails.
Because then you do
Okay.
more and your business bring in more money. If you got a business that is doing what it's supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, and you're charging your right price so that you can maintain this business, some businesses it's quantity that makes it successful, and some business don't need that quantity to make it successful. So all these investigation really allows you to figure out where your business need to be and how to price it right. You
Hmm.
never know. I told a friend of mine, I said, if somebody's charging $20, we don't know why they're charging $20. And somebody's charging $2,000, we don't understand why because we don't know the person core and the reason why. You just seeing what you're seeing.
Hmm.
You don't understand what's happening. If you want to know, go pay. But trust me, you still is not going to know unless you're paying really big money for them to sit and tell you. $2,000 is not going to make you know. You're going to have to pay that 10 to 20 grand to know a schmidt of why it's priced a certain way. Because we have to keep our stuff. We can't give away everything. Come on.
Well, yeah, I think the other thing is in most cases, if you are a solopreneur, you're not even charging for your labor. You're usually just charging for your overhead, um, and then you've got to bake in the cost of your labor. And people are like, "Well, why is it so much?" Well, I'm not talking to you. You're not the customer for this. I'm talking to people who want to invest whatever in. Yeah,
Yep.
I get it.
Yep. You
Okay,
can do
well,
that.
Coach, let's summarize because we are over the
Yeah.
30 minutes. Guys, if you have a question, put it in here. Um, but Coach Caren is saying learn, work, and rest.
You gotta rest, people. You gotta rest. You got to rest.
Learn
Because
from
if
my
you don't feel
mistakes.
it today, 10, 5
Hmm.
years down the road, you're going to feel it. Can't enjoy the money you make. No, and
Hmm.
trust me on this, Coach Karen is very known to resting. She takes a week off here, she takes 3 days off there. I do because I need to give my brain the rest. I need to feed me. I need to keep learning. I need to keep growing. So, yeah, it's important. Alrighty, guys. That's what I got for you today. Check me out
Okay.
and Profits in Daily everywhere.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see if I can get that in here in the comments. I'm going to write it. Profiting daily.
Profits in Daily.
Profits in daily is where you can find Coach Karen
Yes.
every day. And then I'm going to put it up here. You let me make sure I spelled that right.
Yes. Profits
Profits
in
in
Daily.
daily with Coach Karen. And then I want to say to you guys, if you are looking to join Biz Chicks, you can text Biz Chicks to 33777,
Nice.
and a little pop up should come up and allow you to put in your information and join Biz Chicks. Oh, oh, that's so kind. Nicole says, thank you, Nicole.
No,
Thank
you're
you, Brianna.
welcome.
You
Thank
guys
you,
are so
Brenna.
welcome. Coach
Yeah.
Karen always has good things to help us get our mindset together because so many times we punish ourselves mentally. I
Yeah.
didn't do enough. I did. That's
Yes.
how I say, well, I'm not lazy, am I? You know, well, because we're constantly moving.
We are. We are. We are. We
But I
constantly.
think, but we don't want to get distracted by those squirrels. Squirrel,
No.
squirrel.
No. No.
Here's something
Because
new, something new,
right?
something
Because
new.
business owners always cross over and they don't spend a lot of time looking after themselves because we're so busy pumping out and doing, and there's always more to do. The more you do, my grandpa used to say, "I've never heard the death announcement of of work yet." We're gonna die and leave it, so
Work will always be here, right?
always be
So,
here.
so take some time, be good to yourselves. Coach, I want to thank you so much for coming in here every week and shaking up our minds,
You're
shaking us up, making us think differently about our money and our businesses as far as the money connects to the business because our personal life will be reflected in our business life.
for
So
sure.
thank you again. Okay, guys, we love you.
Love you too.
We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. It's Happy Healthy Habits with Robin Shimizu and friends. And Friday, we talk tech and English. So join us here at 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we'll see you tomorrow. We love you. Thank you again, Coach.
You're
And
welcome.
don't forget, guys,
Go to the front of your own line.
to go to the front of your